Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to LinkedIn Tuesday. It's March. It's not March. It's May. All right, I need to fix that. Let's make it May 13th, 2025. We're very glad you're with us today. Please note this event is being recorded and will be on the Career USA YouTube channel for others to view in the future. By participating in this event, you give consent for your name and picture to appear. Please note that any comments you put in the Zoom chat window will not appear in the recording. For everybody who's on Zoom, please feel free to put in your contact information. Tell us who you are, what kind of job you're looking for, job titles, companies that you're interested in, because maybe somebody here can help connect you with a company that's out there. Also, put in your LinkedIn address so people can find you. Just feel free to network and connect with everybody else who's on the call today. Well, good afternoon. My name is Jeff Morris. Back in 2008, I started a website called careerdfw.org, a website for those in the Dallas-Fort Worth area to help them in their job search. In 2012, I launched a second website, careerusa.org, to help those around the United States. I have written a book called What I've Learned About Your Job Search that you may not know. It is available on Amazon, or if you see me, I also have copies with me. Since 2007, I've been facilitating and leading the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. I'll tell you about our speaker coming up this Friday. We've got a very interesting topic that everybody will want to join in on. And since 2017, I've been a member of the practice interview team, also known as the Pit Crew. For more information, just go to dallaspitcrew.com. We have 4 outstanding speakers who talk about LinkedIn. They go to you through on a monthly basis. Today, our speaker is Ruth Lipsky. She's going to talk about LinkedIn tools for job seekers. So Ruth, thank you for being here, and I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you so much. And I appreciate everything that you do in order to give us more information and help the job seekers find the jobs that are going to be just right for them. So let's start off and say that we're going to be talking about LinkedIn today. We're going to be talking about the tools that LinkedIn has created for people who are looking for a new job. And we'll start by saying that when recruiters are on LinkedIn, quite often they're going to be using the LinkedIn Recruiter software. It's a more expensive set of information, but it gives improved results from just going out onto LinkedIn and trying to do a search using the search bar. Most major companies, some mid-sized companies are using the LinkedIn Recruiter software. And the basic search is going to be, let's look for a title, let's look for a geographic location, and let's look for some skills. So in this case, the search is set up for a project manager in the greater Chicago area, and they need to have one of these skills, either business strategy or analytics. LinkedIn provides, in this case, 42,798 possible candidates that have this set of requirements. LinkedIn never does anything that is random. They are always going to be giving you results that are in the order that they think most closely matches what you're looking for. So in this case, Emily Dalton came up number 1 out of 42,798. And we've got number 2 and we've got number 3. We're going to talk in more detail about how these people got to the top of the list, but we do know immediately that there are some spotlight features that the recruiters are able to use to narrow down this original search into something more manageable. And the spotlight features, first one, open to work. Have you filled out the hashtag open to work area? If it is set up so that just recruiters on the LinkedIn Recruiter software can see it, that's fine. But you need to have something that indicates that you're willing to talk about a new position. You need to have company connections. Recruiters feel that if you are connected to somebody in their company, you might know a little bit more about the products, the culture, who the people are. And have you expressed interest in their company? Are you following the company? Have you indicated that you'd like to work in the company? And are you active on LinkedIn? The more active you are, the more LinkedIn is going to reward that. It's like a loyalty program. The more often you use LinkedIn, the more LinkedIn is going to say this person needs to be at the top of the list. Now, notice the results that come back from this type of search. There's very little information. You'll have your headshot, your name, what your current headline is, titles of your last job or two. Not an awful lot of information for a recruiter to make a snap decision as to, is this somebody I want to look at more closely by opening up their complete LinkedIn profile. It's important to have information in the headline area that is going to allow the recruiter to select you out of the 100, 150 profiles that they are scrolling past. And in order to do that, we're going to talk about these features. We're going to talk about this top section on LinkedIn, where we're talking about the headline, the titles, that new verification that's out there. We're going to be talking about the skills that you're allowed to add to LinkedIn, and we're going to talk about the spotlight features. So the first one, those headlines. This is the first time you can talk to a recruiter. Make it worthwhile. Quite often, we're going to ask that you put in a title so the recruiter knows what type of title, what level you're looking for in as much detail as possible. And then you can put in different skills. And in this case, if you're a full stack application developer, these skills are the ones that the recruiters are going to be looking for. So putting that right up in the headline draws them in to your profile. If you're somebody that has a broader type of job, like a project manager or a program manager, that could mean a lot of different things depending on what types of projects you were working on. So being able to add a statement specializing in international business expansion and manufacturing gives a recruiter a better feel for the type of role you had. If you're an accountant, increasing productivity in highly regulated industries, customer experience manager. Notice that you're allowed to put in numbers in this area. So being able to say that you raise satisfaction scores is going to be a huge plus because most companies are looking for that. The higher you are in an organization, generally the more broad, the more strategic your information in the headline is going to be. So someone who is a very precise title and skills can put all those skills up at the front. But the director of customer relations, being a higher level, is needing to put something that is more strategic. Innovating customer satisfaction, one experience at a time, gives the result that the person is able to give and does not give the skills that are needed to get to that result because the result is more important than the skills. So if you want to do one thing to improve recruiters finding your profile, make sure the headline gives them enough information that they know who you are and what type of work you can do for them. Now, that verification, that shield with a check mark on it, that's proving to be a positive thing for recruiters also, because there are many different types of profiles out there. Some of them are AI, some of them are scams, some of them are fake people. So being able to say that I am a real person and this has been verified either by using government issued identity like a passport or a driver's license, or having your company verify who you are. Recruiters are also using this on their LinkedIn profiles. If you get approached by a person who you're not sure is a real person or is not associated with the company they say they are, check and make sure that their LinkedIn profile has got that shield on it that has verified who they are. This information, as far as the government issued ID, can only be done on your phone. It can't be done on a laptop or a computer. The workplace one can because you're just indicating to your company that you want them to verify that you're a person who has worked with them. For most of us on this call, that government issued identity is going to be the one that's going to be most useful for us. Now, end date. At some point, you want to tell people that you are no longer working at that company that you've been at most recently. And it's generally at the 2-month, 3-month time period. We're seeing more and more companies who are rehiring people who they have laid off because they realize that they need that person back to perform a series of tasks that have not been able to be transferred comfortably to someone else. So LinkedIn gives us a couple choices on how to make an end date. And one of them is that you can add a career break. And LinkedIn says, here are all different reasons why you might not be working right now. So you can choose one of those. The problem with that, though, is that it still says, I'm unemployed. And we're seeing that recruiters more and more are interested in when did you most recently use these skills that you have? I like the skill that I'm seeing. Did you use it in your last job, your current job, or a job you had 10 years ago? So, one of the first filters that recruiters are using is I want to only see these skills if they are in a current job. Well, if you're adding a career break that says I'm unemployed, you don't have a current job. So, your option there is to add a placeholder job, which gives you the opportunity to put in some titles, the ability to say what type of role you're looking for, making sure that you indicate that you are self-employed or you're open to new opportunities so they know it's not a real job, but giving the information in the description area is going to give the recruiter the information that they need for a current job and the skills associated there. So let's take a look how that looks when you're on. You're going to go into your experience area. You've got the plus sign here, and it gives you the two choices. When you add that career break, got a lot of different opportunities here to indicate why you're no longer working, but it's better to use the other one, the add a new position, that is going to provide you with the opportunity to say, I have these skills. I don't happen to be working right now, but these are the skills that you need to consider when you're looking for somebody who is good at this type of role. So, title, put as many titles in here as you can. You've got 100 characters. Put them in, separate them with a pipe so that LinkedIn knows which set of words go with which title. But use as many titles as you possibly can here because an exact match on title gives you a benefit through the LinkedIn algorithm. The other required field is going to be in the company. And that's where most people have a problem. But if you say that you are open to work, there have been some companies that have been set up on LinkedIn that are simply placeholder companies. And they could be for HR, they could be for business consulting, they could be for IT. Use any of these because they were created for the job seeker to be able to say, this is not a real job, this is the job I'm looking for. So being able to put something in here. And then in the description area, as always, you've got 2,000 characters that you can put in your skills, the stories that show what you've done, how you've done it, why you were successful, and what value you bring to that new company. And then save it. That gives you a current job and is going to be a positive in how recruiters are going to be able to find you. You can also take the titles that you were given by your company. Those always need to come first, but you can translate what your company title was into something that might be visible and more understandable to a recruiter outside your industry and certainly outside your company. So in this case, career consultant is my official title, but most companies call it a career coach. So I used a pipe to separate it to say, same thing. I'm translating it. this is the type of role that is the same. And in a previous role, I had a title, but the work that I was doing with my team of 12 trainers was moving classroom training into virtual training, amongst other things. But during that time, I learned enough about instructional design and e-learning development that I could be eligible for titles of that sort. So having all of those titles in a title line gives me an advantage so that a recruiter doesn't have to read down to see what I had in that job description area. They know immediately that these are the tools and these are the types of things that I did. If you're in a job that did not have a good definition of what you actually did, you need to put in more titles. So if you were a project manager could be just about any level. You could be doing just about any type of work. In parentheses, if you need to expand it into different types of titles, particularly if you're going to be looking for those as your next career opportunity, it would be an advantage to have them up front. Rule of thumb, always use a title that LinkedIn has standardized because those are the titles that the recruiters are going to be using most often. When they're doing a search, they're going to be looking for a title, and one of the ways you can find it is in your open to work. In your open to work, you can pick job titles, but it's not a free form field. And if you wanted to say that I was a project manager, LinkedIn has got a lot of standardized titles through here that give you the opportunity to say, this is the type of manager I was, this is the level that I was in. Use these titles as you're adding to the title fields in your experience. Exact match on job title is going to be important. LinkedIn is going to give the recruiter a level above, a level below, and other job titles within that family, but they're going to prioritize. If you've got an exact title, they're going to bring you up higher on their list. So use a title that LinkedIn has created. Any questions so far? Jeff, you keeping an eye on the chat?
Yeah, nothing in, oh, yeah. Alan asked if we can ask questions here. Titles have a lot of variations. Does LinkedIn understand those variations?
LinkedIn does, as long as you're using a LinkedIn title, it will know who you are, what you are. The recruiters, some of them are going to understand the job families, but are going to be looking for what does this really mean? So when in doubt, add more information to the title line so that you've got a stronger definition of what you did so that it can match to what the recruiter is looking for.
So his example here, he's putting down, if I put down project manager versus senior project manager or technical project manager, LinkedIn is going to find me if I just put down project manager, right?
They will, but having technical project manager is going to be more useful to a recruiter. So if you feel that your next title should be something in the field of technical project manager, you need to put that down. And since project manager is incorporated into that technical project manager, they'll be able to find you both ways.
Thank you very much.
All right, let's talk about the skills. LinkedIn has created 36,000 skills. It's a lot of skills to have out there. There's no list out there of all the skills. You've got 1,000 skills that are just naturally a part of who you are. You're going to have to narrow that down, and you're going to want the skills that the recruiters are truly looking for. And one of the ways that you can do that is you can go into Career Explorer. It is a listing of the different jobs and the types of skills that are associated with those. So here's what that looks like. This is on a LinkedIn site that is different from the site that you're used to dealing with. The site that you're on has different tabs for the home, the jobs, the network. All of those are going to be part of one package for LinkedIn, but LinkedIn has several separate and independent sites. This is one of them. And in here, you're going to find information on some blogs, some research, but you're going to want to go into the part that talks about find new jobs with the skills you already have. And what that does is it allows you to put in a title, and let's say that you're looking for a technical, they didn't have technical project manager, huh? Okay, IT technical project manager. These are the skills that LinkedIn thinks you should have if you are an IT project manager, and they're in the order that's expected. So Scrum is a more important skill than requirement gathering. If you have these skills, they should appear in your profile. These are all technical skills. They're not going to give you things like communication, problem solving. This is going to be the things that they're going to want to see that indicate proficiency in this role. So taking a look at these is going to help on identifying the skills. But now it also says that you can take a look for what other jobs are out there that use these same skills. And for the similarity score, 86% of the skills that are needed for an IT project manager are also needed for an IT delivery manager. And it will say, here are the ones that are needed if you want to move into this new role. So for each one of these, it'll tell you how closely it matches the job that you are looking at right now and providing you with an opportunity to learn how to move into something that's different. So the first sort that you'll do is I want to see those that are similar, that are using my skills to move into a new job. None of these jobs really were a surprise to you. They're normal movements. But if you wanted to go to what is the popularity, we could take a look at an IT project manager often goes to a regular project manager, even though the skill match is only about 53%. So being able to see what is technically capable is different from what are the most popular career trajectories that LinkedIn is seeing. Good resource just to see what's out there, to see what types of skills might be needed to build if you're looking to transfer into a new type of field.
Can you go back over how you got there?
Okay, you're going to go and let me put this into the chat. So in the chat, I've got the link there. It's called the Career Explorer page, but it's not always easy to find. So finding this is that sometimes can be a little tricky.
Thank you.
But it's got great information. Any questions on this page? Okay. So making sure that you've got the skills that LinkedIn feels are important for you, because LinkedIn is going to make some assumptions on how closely your skills match the recruiter's request. And quite often we think that they're going to be using this type of series of skills. Okay. Let's take a look at that hashtag open to work. LinkedIn created this even before the pandemic because they said it's okay to be unemployed. Prior to the pandemic, we had a lot of mergers and acquisitions that took huge chunks out of a company because they were considered redundant to the buying company. And people who were incredibly talented and skilled and valued lost their jobs. So LinkedIn said the person who is unemployed is no longer the worst performing person in the company, like layoffs from the 20s. or the 2000s. Now, quite often, it's because of some economic factors. And certainly during the pandemic, it got worse because as companies needed to restructure to survive financially, they laid off a lot of people who were amazingly good workers. So LinkedIn created the hashtag open to work long before the pandemic, but it's become even more important since then. However, not everybody likes this banner. And some of the negatives is the perception that there is some desperation associated with that. You may as well be putting hashtag desperate instead of hashtag open to work up there. And that there could be some reputation damage because there still are people out there who feel that if you're looking for a job because you were laid off, it's because you were selected because of poor performance to be laid off. But on the positive side, LinkedIn is going to reward you for having that hashtag open to work. They are going to give you more recruiter notice. They are going to have ensure that there are more messages coming to you so that LinkedIn, by indicating that you are open to work, LinkedIn's going to help you find that job by making you more visible. And when you've got that open to work banner, it gives you more networking opportunities because people are generally going to help folks who are looking for a new job. Now, what does this mean? It means you have to make a decision as to whether you want to not have the hashtag open to work on a public or you want it as having that banner out there. The studies that we've had so far show that about 20 to 25% of the recruiters feel it's a negative. 75 to 80% of the recruiters feel it's positive and use it. So you're still going to have some people who don't think that this is a good thing, but more and more we're seeing that it's being rewarded if you use it. Now, it's going to depend on what kind of search you do. Most of the high level, the CEO level, the C-suite level don't need this banner. They're going to be working in other ways. But if you're not in that C-suite, there are probably more positives than negatives associated with having that hashtag open to work. But it deals with your comfort level also. Questions or comments on this one? Because there's a lot of information out there.
Yeah, Alan says the completely open banner to everyone also seems to lead to a lot of junk contacts, all sorts of pitches and not so nice offers. Just delete them. When you get them, just hit the delete button or to break the contact.
And if you're applying for jobs and you have and you're using something like Indeed or Dice or Glassdoor, all of those job boards allow you to upload your resume. And as soon as you upload your resume, those sites sell your information. And you're going to get a lot of scam or low-level jobs. You'll get a lot of the jobs that have a high turnover. You'd be a great customer service rep. You'd be a great insurance salesperson. Or do you want to buy a franchise? There are going to be all types of messages coming to you. The positives generally outweigh the negatives. Although if you are posting your resume or uploading it to any of the job boards outside of LinkedIn, make sure that you upload it at least every 2 months, and you can refresh it with the exact same resume that you had. But on those sites, one of the recruiter filters is only show me resumes that have been posted in the last 2 months. So they don't look back 5 years and find somebody. So they're looking for that recency. You need to make sure that you've got a date stamp on your resume on those sites that will be found by a recruiter. All right, the spotlight features on LinkedIn. Letting companies know that you like them, that you're interested in them, is going to bring you up higher on those searches also. And there are 4 ways that you can tell a company that you're interested in them. You can follow the company, you can set up a job alert, you can set up an interest button, and you can connect to employees so that you've got somebody in that company who you know. So let's take a look at how that's going to look. And somebody give me the name of a company that they're interested in.
Raytheon.
Okay. So typing it up here, you can see that here's the logo, here's the company. You click that, and you're going to view the page. And the page here is going to be the LinkedIn company page for Raytheon. You can follow the company, which indicates that you have an interest in the company, and that means that the LinkedIn recruiter algorithm is going to make you more visible. But by the follow button, it really just means drop information about your company onto my homepage. I'd like to see it. And you'll see what their financials are. You'll see what their new products are. There's a lot of information that you can get from a company. You're going to want to then go to this About section here. And in the About section, if you scroll down, there's a box that says, are you interested in working with us in the future? This starts the serious handshake with a recruiter. Because if you say that you're interested in working with them, that means that the recruiter is probably going to take that shortcut, and rather than trying to talk somebody into their company about the benefits, about what they do, you're indicating that you know all that stuff. You're going to be a lot easier to set up for an interview or a discussion. So not every company has this, but most companies do now because the recruiters like it. All right, next thing you do is you go into their Jobs tab. Now, the Jobs tab here doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be looking for jobs. You're much better off going to the company's regular career page to find the full set of jobs that are available to you. But it does allow you to create a job alert. And when you create a job alert, you can say that there is a title, and it's going to be the same set of titles that LinkedIn has already standardized. Because when recruiters are on LinkedIn, they're using LinkedIn's list. This may not be a title that they use within the company, but it tells them what that translation is going to be. Put in the job location that you're interested in. Do you want to be on-site, hybrid, or remote? And then create the job alert. When a recruiter is posting a job on LinkedIn, they're able to see who has created a job alert for their company for that type of job. And this is going to be much broader. This is going to be for the full job family. So if you have senior IT project manager or just project manager, they're going to be able to see everybody in the job family that has created a job alert. And quite often, they're going to take the shortcut of, here are people who have the skills. I can take a look at their profile immediately. Are interested in my company, let's take a look there. The key on this is that you only get 20 job alerts, and you're going to use some of those in the Jobs tab as you're creating the ideal job and the parameters that are associated with that. So as you create the job alerts, one per company, and use the companies that you want to target most closely for a positive job. So
Ron asked, can you create multiple job alerts for different job titles at one company?
yes, you can use all 20 of them at one company. It doesn't give you that better results though. If you felt that you had two completely different jobs, say you wanted to be a project manager or you wanted to be a purchasing manager, you might need two different alerts for the same company. But you can create as many as you want, but since LinkedIn only gives you 20 of them altogether, use them wisely. So we're following the company. We're going into the About section to say I'm interested. We're going into the Jobs to create a job alert. And then you're going to go into the People. LinkedIn rewards you if you are connected to somebody within that company. Because once again, if feels as if you know more about the culture, about the people, about the products, about the activities associated with it. So in this case, there are 51,256 employees at Raytheon who have a LinkedIn profile. And LinkedIn is going to give us, let's open this up a bit, some information about them, where they live, where they studied, what they do. This is the department they work in. And if you're trying to find someone to network with, this is a nice way to start narrowing down and finding the people who are in a position for you to be able to connect with. What they're skilled at and what they studied, I don't find terribly interesting, but it does tell you here how you're connected. So if you have first degree connections, this is a good time to send them a note and say, I've applied for this role. Give it to them in as much detail as possible because quite often you need the number to be able to look up the job. Would you mind recommending me to the hiring manager or to the recruiter? If you don't have first degree connections, you can try and find second degree connections to connect to. I see we have people in common in our LinkedIn networks. I'm considering a career opportunity at Raytheon. How do you like it there? Let's connect. You generally don't ask for any favors the first time you try and connect with someone. For a first degree connection, you can. Will you recommend me? Will you contact the hiring manager? Can you let me know the name of the hiring manager? Or something as simple as, I understand that Raytheon gives a bonus if you recommend somebody who is eventually hired. Would you like me to use your name? That'll get them to recommend you. So if you're taking a look through here, let's say that you wanted to work in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We've got it narrowed down to 6,525. And let's say that you really want to find people who are in the IT department. That narrows it down all the more. And if you wanted to look for somebody who is going to be most associated with the type of role you were looking for, let's see how many software developers they've got. A lot, but here they are. So taking a look through and seeing who is out there as a software developer, because that's the same title you have. If you need to connect with someone, you can say, I am trying to improve my LinkedIn profile by connecting to people who have similar roles to me. Would love to add you to my network. Never use the white connect button because the white connect button sends the automatic, I'd like to be part of your network, which is not terribly interesting and quite often is ignored. But if you go to the person's profile, you'll see that there is a blue connect button, and on a laptop or on a computer, the blue connect button allows you to send a personalized message. It's just the opposite on your phone. On the phone, it's the white connect button that sends the personalized message. It can get confusing, but look for the blue. Take a look over what the person has done in their career, see if there's anything you have in common, and connect. Now, if you're not finding people who would be necessarily the best fit for you, then you're going to want to say, I want to look for a recruiter. Recruiter's job is to connect to people. And being able to see the people who would be, let me get out of this. Let's take a look at the 288. If you're looking at recruiters, they are normally the most willing to connect with you. They're generally more active on social media. Their goal is to find people easily in order to fill jobs. And recruiters are sometimes going to have a purple hashtag hiring. around their banner like this. These are the best people to be connecting with because they have a job that is open. They're going to be watching LinkedIn for people coming in. And even if it is not a job that is in your field, they're probably going to be willing to pass you on to whoever is handling that application. So finding the purple hashtag hiring, good way to start connecting into a company and finding the right recruiter if you've already applied for the role. Okay, and all those? The other thing that you can be doing, let's get out of this. You can connect via your school. So there are people who have gone to, let's say the same school that you did, and let's say Texas A&M. Here are all the people who went to Texas A&M. You can sort this additionally down by department so that you can find the people who you would most benefit from connecting to. But now your network is going to be, I see you also attended Texas A&M. I enjoyed my time there. I'm interested in opportunities at Raytheon. How do you like it there? Let's connect. So being able to find something in common is going to be a huge part of having that acceptance come through and being able to have people that you're connected to at a company. The other way to look for companies for that didn't go well. Let's just go University of Texas. Schools also have LinkedIn pages aside from their regular page in public. But being able to take a look at the alumni is going to be an important part here because in the alumni, it gives you the first list here is where they work. And if you're interested in joining a company like Chevron, you can take a look and see who you have in common in that company. So multiple ways of finding people from your schools. Also use a school that your spouse went to, that your parents went to, that your siblings went to. And by all means, if you are paying tuition for one of your kids to go to school, use that as a connection too. People are very positive about alumni associations, about being able to have the same experiences in the college years. So connecting and networking through universities are very strong. And the other way to network is going into a group. And if you wanted to say looking for a group that has other project managers, let's go ahead and take a look at the groups. 92% of the groups on LinkedIn are dead. They have not had any posting. Nobody has asked to join them. There's been no activity for more than a year. When you're going to take a look at a group to join, make sure that you've got a green active group to join. This is a huge one, 680,000 members. You're able to network within a group without using up the limitations of messaging. So being part of a group allows you to connect with people a lot faster, a lot easier, and an abundance of people this way as you join a group. Just make sure it is an active group that you're joining. Okay, so when you're showing your interest, you're going to follow the company. You're going to go onto the jobs tab within that company and set up an alert if you feel that this is an important targeted company for you. If they have an interest button that's in the about section, you click on that and make sure you're connected to at least one person within the company. Being visible is being active. And LinkedIn has a special tab for active talent. And it's going to be looking for people who are on LinkedIn. And the more often you are on LinkedIn, hitting that enter button, the more LinkedIn is going to reward you. This is their loyalty program moving along. The more often you use LinkedIn, the more LinkedIn feels that you are a bright person who understands the advantages of networking, of utilizing their resources. So 4 times a week, minimum. LinkedIn also keeps track of how often you've responded to a recruiter that sends you a message. So if a recruiter sends you a message on your message tab and says, we have this job, we think you might be a good fit for it. Are you interested? Can we set up some time to talk? And if you ignore them, then LinkedIn is not going to be as willing to put your name in front of other recruiters. So even if a job that a recruiter approaches you about is not one you want, send back a message, and it can be as simple as I'm not able to relocate. This is a different level than what I'm interested in. It's asking for some skills that I don't have and don't plan on getting. Just make sure that the recruiter has a reply. If you've recently updated anything on your LinkedIn profile, we talk a lot about making sure that your profile is complete, that you've got all of your stories, that you've got all your skills, that you've got everything out there. Don't stop updating. Make sure you continue to update your profile, even if it's just changing around the first sentence of your About section, even if it's changing the paragraphs. LinkedIn ages your profile. And if you don't do anything to the profile information, LinkedIn's going to start ignoring it because it feels, even if you're active every place else, LinkedIn is going to feel as if you're not serious about looking for another job. Every 2 months, you need to turn off the hashtag open to work and turn it back on again. That ages the quickest. 2 months is about as long as you want to keep that on. And it's like a light switch. You turn it off, you turn it back on again. The headline area also ages not quite as fast, but probably every 2 months you should change the headline, even if it's just swapping out the order of the information that you have there. LinkedIn doesn't care what you have in that field. It just wants to know that you are considering it and that you're updating it on a regular basis. Choosing to share information with recruiters. You've got the ability to attach your resume to your profile. You can put in several resumes, but the title that you have on the resume for the identification of that needs to be what that job is about. So instead of having your name and then project manager, and then the next file would have your name and program manager, put the program manager first and then your name, because recruiters can't see the full title of it. And if you are working at an organization with a recent layoff, you're going to be brought to the top of the list. LinkedIn is trying to help the people who have who've been involved in the layoffs, particularly some of the big ones that we've had. Now, how do they know that you are in a company that had a layoff? It's because you start working seriously on your profile. So it doesn't have a magic list of all the companies that have had layoffs, but if you suddenly go out onto the LinkedIn profile and you haven't done much on it over the years, but you're suddenly putting in a dynamic headline and you're putting in more information in your About section and you're updating your experience section and you add 10 new skills to the skills section, LinkedIn is going to know that you probably got laid off and you're looking for a new job and they want to help you. LinkedIn has an algorithm that is going to be looking at the information that you have and evaluating whether you're a fit and if you're active enough to be of interest to a recruiter. But let's not forget that the human eye has to take a look at your LinkedIn profile also. And anytime that you have an opportunity to have your profile viewed by a recruiter, you need to take full advantage of what they're looking for and what's going to make them more comfortable. And these are the things that'll help you there. Okay, questions?
If you've got a question, you're welcome to unmute your mic and ask away.
Hello, Ruth. I'm not sure if you already went into the skills section. Would you mind going back to the skills section and showing us how to add and sort the skills?
Sure. Let's go on back. And when you're in the skills section, LinkedIn allows you to have 100 skills. Don't think you need that many, but if you do, that's fine. You're going to be adding them by hitting the plus button, and it's best to use the skills that LinkedIn has standardized. You can free-form text this and put in whatever you want, but it won't be found in a recruiter search. So being able to say that project management, since we've used that before, is going to be a skill. Notice that they have a lot of different types of project management. Use one of these, use two of these. You've got plenty of room out there. If you've got 100 skills available to you, put in a couple different types of it. You're going to be looking for both the soft skills and the hard skills. The hard skills tell them whether you can do the job. The soft skills tell them where you're going to fit into the company and match their company culture. So putting in words like being adaptable or flexible, relationship building, communication, those are all indicative of I can fit into your organization. So as you add them, you're going to get a pretty long list. LinkedIn can only see the skills that have an endorsement next to it. So if you've added some skills to your profile that don't have an endorsement to them, then you might want to send a note out to some of your network connections and say, I am improving my LinkedIn profile. Would you mind endorsing me for these 8 skills, 10 skills, and get an endorsement next to them? You do want to put your strongest skills on your profile page, and LinkedIn allows you to. And in order to change that, you're going to stay in this all feature, and you're going to go to the 3 dots that allow you to reorder your skills. You would think that you could grab a skill and move it, but it doesn't. It snaps right back. You have to use the parallel lines over at the side to move and put the skills in the order that you want it. Your top 2 are going to be at the top of the list, but recognize that when a recruiter has opened this and is taking a look, they can only see 10 to 12 skills based on what size screen they have. So put in the top skills out of the 50, 80, 100 skills you have. Put the top ones in a place where nobody is going to have to scroll in order to find them.
Thank you, Ruth. I appreciate that. So I think I'm going to summarize what I got. So in my case, I'm product manager. So I went into that Career Explorer and I found like 10 skills that are more required, like popular, right? So I come here and add those popular ones, and then I reorder them and also make sure I tell my contacts to endorse me, right? So the top 10.
Perfectly said. Yes.
Awesome. Thank you.
And I'm impressed you got onto the Career Explorer that quickly. Well done.
Dawn asked, is only one endorsement required for a skill to be visible?
That is correct. Only one. Now, LinkedIn is going to assume that the more endorsements you have, the higher level skill proficiency you have. Recruiters don't feel that way at all, because a lot of times the people who have endorsed your skills are friends or colleagues who expect you to endorse skills back. So they're going to be a little bit more suspicious of somebody who's got 99 endorsements, but the algorithm is the one that you need to worry about. You need to have one endorsement to make it visible.
Okay, Alan is asking, any thoughts on using the LinkedIn pay preferences? Is that something that's visible to recruiters?
It is visible to recruiters, and it does give you access to more things on LinkedIn. Gives you access to LinkedIn Learning if you want to improve your skill set or indicate that you are currently gaining new skills. It gives you top applicant options when you're in the jobs tab. It gives you a boost so that if you are tied with a group of people for the same score as LinkedIn is scoring everybody's profile, they'll put you at the top of that grouping. So there, and you get more information about the companies. So there are some advantages to that, but don't buy it until you're sure what those advantages are so that you can take advantage of them and see if it does make a difference to you. If it doesn't make a difference to your job search, then you don't need to use it and pay for it because it's not an inexpensive one. One of the ways to tell whether you are doing things right is to take a look at your analytics. Are people finding you? Are you coming up in search appearances? Are you commenting on people's posts? Are you creating your own posts? That can be a positive too, but these numbers should be going up or at least trending up as you become more active so that you're able to be found easier.
Okay, Julie asked, what does one do if we already have 100 skills?
You can either go in and delete some of the skills that are no longer needed, because sometimes you've got skills in there that are not a high priority or that you used in a job and you hope you never have to use that skill again. So cleanup sometimes is an important part of having the most recent skills and the most important skills. So when you're taking a look at your skills, you always have an edit button next to it. At the bottom left, you can delete that skill. If
Okay.
you feel that you've got more than 100 skills, then you need to add them into your About section so that you've got a different way to add them. And skills should always be linked to your current job, even if that's a placeholder job, because that's another way that recruiters are going to be able to see that you've got recency skills that they might be looking for.
All right, Julie said you have a follow-up question.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so the thing is, when you go into the skills, and I was putting in skills and I didn't know I hit 100, when you go into the skills like you showed, how do I know which ones have been endorsed? And I don't want to end up deleting things that are endorsed, I think. That's right. I think that's true. If I delete it, I lose the endorsements. But see how it's all broken down? I did not list all my skills against a particular job. Do I have
It's a
to
good
do that?
idea to do that, but it will tell you uh, who you are, if it's got an endorsement. So going down to e-learning, I have no endorsements for that. Nobody's going to be able to find me on that. If I
So,
wanted to move into e-learning, I would have to ask somebody to endorse me for it.
so this is, how did you get to this one? Because the other one was all skills and you had a list and you could move them with the bar. So you don't know whether you have,
Oh, now that's when you're reordering the skills. So when you're ordering the skills, you can't see if you have endorsements.
right. So how do I
But
see the
but if
endorsements?
you're taking a look just at the all, when you just first open up your skill set, you should be able to see how many endorsements you have for your different features.
I see. And then from that, I can delete.
Exactly. So if you want to delete the ones, now if you have a old skill and you've got endorsements against it, but you don't think it's important for your future and you think it needs to be replaced by a skill that is more important for your future, take a deep breath and get rid of something, even if it has an endorsement.
And what number of skills do you recommend? Because clearly, we're going to have future jobs, so we need space. I didn't even know I hit 100 until it said I ran out.
uh, the types of skills are going to be more important. So making sure that you've got some skills dealing with your managerial capabilities, the communication, the building relationships, industry knowledge. Find the balance there. Some people need 100 skills. Most people don't need more than 50 or 60. But it depends on the type of role you're in also.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, Ruth, well, thank you. We're at the top of the hour. If you want to connect with Ruth, you're welcome to go to her LinkedIn profile. It may not look with the same banner because she's always changing her banner every couple months. So, but this is one option. You'll be able to find her and LinkedIn with her. Next week, our speaker is going to be Kurt Vondermatter. He's going to talk about LinkedIn from a recruiter's eye. He's a retained search executive, one of the top 25 recruiters in the country, according to Forbes. So Kurt will be with us next Tuesday at 1 o'clock. Career DFW and Career USA, we're putting on training 3 days a week. Tomorrow, the practice interview team will be meeting in person only. If you'd like to join them, you can go to Christ United Methodist Church at the corner of Parker and Coit in Plano and join them from 1 to 3 o'clock. They are online. They do a Zoom call on the 4th Wednesday of the month, but the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 5th, they are in person only. And this Friday at the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group at 9:30 in the morning, technology tips and tricks for job seekers with Matt Keelan. Matt's done this presentation before. It's very interesting. Tons and tons of websites and things you may want to check out. You can join us in person. If you join us in person, bring your phone or laptop so you can follow along as we're doing this live, or you can join us on Zoom. If you'd like to join the Career DFW or Career USA LinkedIn groups, you're welcome to join one or both. You do not need to live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area to join the Career DFW group. That group just happened to get started sooner when I started the websites back in 2008. This session has been recorded. It will be on the Career USA YouTube channel later this afternoon. Please subscribe to the channel. That way, when we post new videos, you'll find out about them. We've got over 670 videos up there right now. On the Career USA YouTube channel, I will say click on playlist, and then up will come the 7 different playlists that I put videos into. And instead of clicking on the video, down where you see the red arrow, view full playlist. When you do that, up will come a list of all the dates and chronological order of the titles that they've talked about, and you can go back and watch any video at your convenience. If you're not receiving emails about our workshops and you'd like to join the Career USA mailing list, you can just scan this QR code and send a blank email, or send a blank email to Career USA, the +subscribe at groups.io. You'll never be spammed because I control the list, but as we put out new events, you'll find out about them on the mailing list. Please note, Career DFW, we're a 501c3 nonprofit organization. All of our speakers are volunteer. Ruth is volunteer. I'm a volunteer. Everything I've done over the last 15 years has just been to help you land your next great opportunity. So thank you very much for joining us today, everybody. Have a great Tuesday, and we hope to see you either at the Pit Crew on Wednesday or this Friday at the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. Thank you, Ruth.
Thank you, Ruth. Save the chat. Thank you, Jeff.